Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we're back with another tier list. Today we're going to be running through the starting junglers for the LEC for the 2021 season. I'm going to be giving my thoughts and opinions on all these different guys, ranking them all from S tier to F tier. And then you guys are going to leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Let me know what I got right, what I got wrong, what you would change, and what your tier list is looking like as well. Again, I'm super hyped up for the 2021 season for the LEC, so I think this is a fun way to kind of get my thoughts and analysis and opinions out before the season starts. And then once things get kicked off, we can kind of see how things shake out, because again, nobody really knows how things are going to go in 2021. There's been a ton of crazy moves in the offseason, a ton of players switching teams, new guys coming in, new faces we've never seen before at the highest level. It's going to be fun. So I think these tier lists are fun to make. But before we get into this real quick, I just want to mention, if you're not already subscribed, definitely click that subscribe button really quick. It's fast, it's free, it's easy, and it helps you guys stay up to date on all my latest content. It helps me out a ton as well, and I would appreciate it a ton. We recently hit 5,000 subscribers, which is so awesome, so crazy. But now we got to go for 6, we got to go for 7, we got to go for 10, we got to keep going. So again, click that button real quick. I'd appreciate it. Let's get right into this. First up, we have Dan. He's obviously coming over from Fnatic Rising. He is now on XL. And XL is an interesting team to me. They have some exciting players. Dan is going to be paired up with his mid lane duo being Jankos, who a lot of people are excited about. They think he's going to be one of the new bright faces coming into the LEC in the mid lane, like one of those new EU mids, man. And having a good mid laner is obviously just a godsend for any jungler. It's going to help them out so much. But unfortunately, Dan is one of the new players that I'm not as excited about. From what I've seen on him on Fnatic Rising, in different European regional leagues and stuff, Dan's a guy who I'm just not that high on. I'm not super excited. I think maybe in time he could develop into a solid LEC jungler, but I don't think he's that like just crazy talent that's going to be able to come into the LEC and start dominating from day one. I think Excel is going to be like a pretty up and down team, and I don't know. I don't see him just coming in and succeeding a ton right away. For me, he's a C tier. I could see him working his way into the B tier over the course of the season, but I could also see him working his way down into the F tier. So again, he's a young player with some promise. He's not the worst, but I'm not super excited about him, and I don't think many people are super excited about him either. Next up, we have Selfmade man for Fnatic. This guy has been a big talk over the last couple of years. Just him being this super crazy talent coming up in the LEC, just becoming one of the best junglers in the league so quickly, and that's been so exciting, so fun to watch. Obviously, he had an amazing year with Fnatic last year, especially when carry junglers are in meta. This is a guy you have to watch out for. Fnatic has Niski coming into the mid lane, and a lot of people are expecting Niski to continue to play that roaming style, that facilitative style of mid laner, which is great when you have a carry style jungler like Selfmade. My only concern for Selfmade and Fnatic is that how his playstyle is going to fit into other metas, if tank junglers are the meta, if you can't play carries as often. I still think Selfmade can be very good, and I think there's always going to be at least a few carry picks at different ways you can kind of fit that into drafts and into team compositions and stuff. But I do think there are some metas where maybe Selfmade would falter a little bit, and then they would have to rely a little bit more on Niski, which I think could be a little bit scary. But in my opinion, Selfmade is an absolute world-class jungler, one of the best in the LEC. I mean, obviously everyone is kind of between him and Jankos for who's the best. I've heard a lot of different opinions. Selfmade, easy S tier for me. I think this guy's an absolute beast, and I think he still has room to continue to grow and develop, which is really scary. I think 2021 could be a huge year for Selfmade, huge year for Fnatic, and that's exciting. That's fun for me. Next up, we have Tynex. This is a guy who's coming over from the LDLC. He is now on SK Gaming. He's going to be paired up with, obviously, Blue in the mid lane, Trees as his support, a couple new young faces. This team's really exciting. It's really interesting, but it could go so many different ways when you have so many new guys coming into the LEC. Again, people are hyped up for Tynex. Some people think he's a beast. Some people are hyped up for Blue. Some people think he's a beast. Some people are hyped up for Treat. Some people think he's a beast. But that is 3 rookies coming into one team in important positions. Jung mid duo synergy is obviously very important. Jungle support, they need to have perfect synergy for so many different plays and stuff. And there's just a lot of young faces coming in. That's going to be difficult, I think, for this team to kind of hit it off right away. I think there's going to be some growing pains there. I think Tynex has a bright future ahead of him, but just I'm not as high of him as some of the other young guys, and I don't think he's in the greatest situation in the world, so it's tough for me to rate him too high off the bat. I'm going to be starting him off in a high C tier. If you put him in low B tier, I would not argue with you one bit. I have him low C. We're going to see what happens. Again, if SK works out perfectly, him, Blue, Treats, they all turn out to be as good as advertised, they could all be very scary, and I could see them all being, B tier players in their positions, really solid LEC talents. But I don't know. I don't think we're going to be seeing that every game, week in and week out. I think it's going to be tough at the beginning. I have him starting out in the C tier. Next up, we have Aloya. He's coming in from Movistar Riders. He is the new jungler for Mad Lions, and he has big shoes to fill in Shadow. Obviously, Shadow was a beast for Mad Lions at times, but he was a little bit inconsistent, especially towards the end of the summer playoffs into Worlds when they didn't even end up qualifying for the main stage for Worlds. A lot of things went wrong for Mad Lions. I'm sure there's a lot of pointing of fingers, a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, so they decided to replace their top and their jungler, and yeah, Shadow is going to be hard to replace. But Aloya is coming in as a very, very hyped up talent, and he is a guy who is coming into a great situation. If you are a new jungler in the LEC and your mid laner is humanoid and your support is Kaiser, you are set up for success. You have to play extra terrible to look bad. You are going to be put in so many good positions, especially because people think Arma is going to be a significant upgrade over Aroma in the top lane. Mad Lions is looking to be a good, scary team in 2021, but a lot of it is going to depend on how their new jungler is able to succeed, able to synergize with the team, able to play with his different lanes. I'm excited for him. I think a lot of people are excited for him, and again, he is in a great position. So even if you think maybe Tynex is better than Aloya or something like that, Aloya is in a great position. I think he's going to be very, very successful. I have him very solidly in the B tier. Not getting too crazy. I'm not expecting him to pop off too much right at the beginning. I don't need to go into the A tier just yet, but I'm solidly his B tier. I'm excited for him. I'm excited for Mad Lions. Hopefully they'll be fun to watch. Next up, we have Razork, obviously coming back into Misfits Gaming. This is an interesting team. One thing I do think Razork has going for him is that he has Vander as his new support. Vander, obviously one of the better supports in the LEC, huge playmaker, a guy that is probably got to be great for you to play with as a jungler, but Razork is probably one of the least interesting junglers in the LEC for me right now. We saw him last year. He did not look great. He's coming back. There's a lot of question marks about Misfits Gaming. We don't know exactly how good they're going to be, how good some of the new players they're bringing in are going to be in the top and mid lane. We don't even have those guys finalized yet. But, yeah, Razork is not super exciting for me. I don't think he's like this new young jungler that they're developing for the future or anything like that. I just think he's just pretty average jungler. I'm surprised they weren't able to find anything better than him. I'm surprised they didn't replace him, but maybe they see something in him that the rest of us don't. I'm going to put him in F tier just because I think he's the jungler that I'm the least excited about, that I see the least in for the future. Maybe he could be a C tier with some of these guys, but I've got him as F. He's the guy I'm least excited about. And I think it's always fun to throw somebody in the F, because then it pisses people off. People get riled up about it. If you don't have somebody in the F tier, you're doing your tier list wrong. You got to have at least one person in the F tier for every tier list. Next up, we got Inspired for Rogue. Inspired, he's obviously a beast. We've seen him. We've seen what he can do. He's awesome for Rogue. The whole team, I just love. They're all so fun to watch. They're all so good. They're all so exciting. The one knock I have on Inspired is that he did not look very good at Worlds. But obviously, that's something where he's going to have to continue to gain experience, continue to grow, continue to learn. This whole Rogue team, hopefully, is going to take a big step up in 2021. It's going to be interesting because they have Trimby coming into support. Obviously, that we've talked about a lot, the jungle support duo, that synergy, how well they're going to be able to mesh together. People are really hyped up about Trimby. They think he's a beast. I'm sure he'll mesh well with Inspired. Also, Rogue has Otawamna coming in, which people see as a big upgrade in the top lane. So obviously, getting a solo lane upgrade, that's always going to be a good sign for your jungler. I think Inspired's going to have another really good year again. I think that Rogue's going to have another really good year again. They're going to be a solid team. Good teams make your players look better. If you play in a great team, you're going to look a little bit better. That's a good sign for Inspired. I have him solidly in the A tier. Next up, we have Zanzira. He is actually a guy that is coming over from AGO Rogue. This is obviously the team that got, I think, all five of their starters from last season into the LEC now, which is crazy. And that's another thing where, since they had 5 players that were all so good, could they maybe have looked a little bit better in the ERL than the players actually are? That is something I worry about them, because did they really have 5 LEC caliber players? I mean, like, maybe, we'll see, but it could be a sign where, a couple good players make everybody else look better and make your whole team look better, especially when you're playing against competitions maybe not as good. So that's one thing I would worry about. Also, Zanzira, he's going to Astralis, which their roster looks rough. I have them as my 10th ranked team in the LEC. I think it's going to be tough. I am kind of hyped up for Zanzira. He's a guy we've seen in the League of Legends scene for a long time now, getting his shot in the LEC now. It'll be interesting. I don't think he's too bad. I think he has some promise. I think he has some talent. But again, you have Nuke Duck as your mid laner, who I know a lot of people are upset that he's still coming back. Promise Q as your support. Like, oh man, that's so rough. He's going to be in a rough position. I want to put him in low B tier. I don't know if C tier is more accurate, just because, man, I really can't see him succeeding on that Astralis lineup. I'm going to put him in low B tier for now, because I'm a little bit more excited for him than I am for Tynex and Dan. But, man, good luck on Astralis, buddy. Next up, we have Jankos, obviously the G2 jungler. You know what you're getting with Jankos. He's been a beast. He's been around with different teams. H2K, he was a beast. Comes over to G2, he's still a beast. Obviously, sometimes at Worlds and sometimes even in the LEC, he has some random games where he ints. He has some random games, days, weeks, whatever, where he doesn't show up. But I mean, he's one of the more consistent junglers in the LEC, one of the more consistent junglers in the world. You know what you're getting with Jankos. He can play all different kinds of picks, all different kinds of champions, all different kinds of styles. G2 obviously has some changes this year. They have Reckless coming into the AD carry position, but I don't think that should affect Jankos too much. I don't think jungler and bot lane is, shouldn't be too big of a deal. I also think Reckless is going to come into G2, pretty seamlessly. I think they should be fine. I'm not too worried about them at all. I think Jankos is a beast, one of the best junglers in the entire world. He's going to have a big year. G2 is going to have a big year. I hope they can get something done at Worlds. I'm really, really rooting for him. But in the LEC, obviously Jankos is as good as it gets. Easy S tier. Next up, we have Skeens for Vitality. He's obviously a guy we saw last year, and when we saw him in the LEC, he wasn't bad. He was not bad. He just was never great. He was pretty meh. He was pretty average. I don't think he's bad at all. I'm just not super excited for him. I'm not super hyped up. Vitality as a whole is a team that I just, it's like pretty meh. I know there's a ton of Vitality fans always in my comments and stuff saying they're really hyped up for this team this year. Melitza is a guy that I think is really exciting, and I think he's really interesting. I know he's a big hype prospect. I hope he's able to take a big step this year, and if he does, that'll help out Skeens a ton, obviously. I know Lebrov in the support position, he's very good as well. He can be good, but this Vitality team, they're just like pretty middle of the pack in like every position. They don't really have anybody that's like a huge standout just yet. Again, that could happen in 2021. Maybe somebody takes a next step and starts pushing to be like a top 3 player in their position. But until that happens, it's tough to stand out too much. Again, Skeen's the guy. I don't think he's bad at all. I'm not super, feeling one way or the other about him. Solid B tier for me. Vitality is a whole. I pretty much have their whole team as like B tier position players. Nobody terrible, but nobody too great. I think they're going to be like a 6th place team in the LEC, 5th or 6th. That's what I'm thinking about him. And finally, we have God Gilius himself paired up with Faker Dage in the mid lane. He's coming back for Schalke this year. They have Limit coming in, which is going to be a little bit of a change for the team. Obviously, they have Broken Blade in the top lane, so they do have some moving pieces. But obviously, Gilius was able to come in last year, really turn around things for Schalke. He looked amazing during their miracle run. Obviously, into the playoffs, still looked very solid. And he's a guy that is hopefully going to be able to continue what they had going on last year for Schalke, because obviously Schalke at times was a very up and down team. They were as up and down as a team could possibly get. They were the worst team in the league and then one of the better teams in the league, which is crazy. But again, for Schalke, I think the reality of them is going to be a little bit in the middle. I do think Broken Blade is a good pickup in the top lane. I think Limit should hopefully be really good as support. Obviously, Gilius looked great last year. I have him solidly as an A tier jungler for me. I think he's going to be interesting. I think he's going to be fun to watch. I hope Schalke can keep going what they had going on last year. And yeah, he's going to be a really good pair up with Abadage in the mid lane, obviously. It'll be interesting to see how well he works with Limit. But Schalke's a team I'm excited for. I think they have a nice little roster again. I think they're going to be able to, compete for potentially a world spot again. It'll be tough because Rogue and Fnatic are both looking so good. But they got Gilius. He's going to put in the work. He's going to be very solid for this team. I have him as A tier. But there it is, guys. There is my tier list. LEC Junglers 2021 starters. I don't know how many of these are confirmed. I think most of these are confirmed, not entirely all of them. But this is my list, my thoughts, opinions on all the junglers we have projected to be starting for the LEC in 2021. But again, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Let me know what I get right, what I get wrong. What does your guys' tier list look like? Any thoughts and opinions are definitely encouraged, definitely recommended. I appreciate it a ton. Just don't be a dickhead. But definitely drop a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to stay updated on all my latest content. Check me out over at Twitch, twitch.tv/I_am_germ. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.